Hi guys, Veggie Gamer back and we're back to the Lord of the Rings stuff, guys. Thank you so much for your recommendations and suggestions in the comments, please, guys. They're always greatly appreciated. Today we are checking out cameras in Middle-earth. Thoroughly looking forward to it. It's 50 minutes long, guys, so it's a chunkier video, but really cannot wait. I cannot wait for this one, guys. I feel like this is going to be all about the scenery, maybe the camera trickery with obviously with the hobbits and everyone else and everything, maybe. But it's going to be absolutely fascinating, regardless. But yes, so, again, thank you so much for your suggestions on what we should cover in the comments, guys. One thing which has been suggested a few times to me is Colbert, is it? Colbert? It's Colbert, isn't it? Like a 20th anniversary union thing. I'm not exactly sure 100% what it is, guys. My only concern about covering that is that because it's Steve Colbert, which I believe is his name, I'm probably not going to be able to post it on YouTube because they probably are quite strict on their reactions. If other people reacted to it, guys, please let me know. And if that's the case, then that's awesome. But I'm not sure if that is actually the case. So, but if there is anything else Lord of the Rings related, like be it behind the scene or themed or anything like that, maybe we can even try and do some quizzes. I'll be terrible at that, but you know, I'll do it if you want, guys. Then please obviously let me know what to cover next in the comments. But yeah, regarding that one in particular, I'm not sure. Also, isn't there like a rap battle thing as well? I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe it's like Dumbledore and Gandalf, maybe. But yeah, let me know what else you do want me to check out. Sorry that for the delay in this, guys. And also, one other bit of information which I do need to share with you is that we are bringing movie reactions back to the Patreon, guys. And so, at the moment, there is a poll over on the Patreon to vote for what the next movies that we're going to be that I'm going to be reacting to. Obviously, movies that I haven't seen before. And so, if you want to be a part of that voting process, you can go back to Patreon for as little as you want to get access to that poll. You also get access to everything on there for as little as you want. Basically, the smallest pay level on there. I'm going to sneeze. No, apparently I'm not. The lowest pay grade on there, which is minimum payment, you basically get everything that is on the Patreon, and so there is no tier system as such. Everything is available on the lowest one, and so if you want to be a part of the poll, then you can. You also will be getting the full length reactions, unedited reactions as well on there as well for that same price, and so it's going to be interesting, guys. There are a couple of front runners at the moment, but the poll's only been out for like around a day, and so your vote can absolutely sway it in different directions. But at the moment, we're doing standalone movies, and then obviously we will do other series in the future. But at the moment, we're just doing standalone for a couple. And so, yes, if you want to get early access to those reactions, the full-length, unedited reactions, then you can check out the Patreon if you so wish. It also greatly helps the channel, but I know that a lot of you can't back patrons and everything, and so when I can, I will try and get the edited-up versions out on YouTube. I just need to get faster at doing it, seriously, because those, but the system that I have for doing them, it can't be what all other YouTubers do. I think it must be the system in which I do it just takes so much longer, and I apologise about that, but I will try and get you the edits as soon as I can. So yes, all that housekeeping aside, let's check out cameras in Middle-earth. I should also mention that as well, guys, because it's very likely that this video is going to get claimed by Warner Brothers? I can't remember. Whoever it is that owns the movies, guys, will most definitely claim the monetization from this video. Absolutely fine, guys. I've no problem with them doing that at all. I'm just reacting to them. They did all the hard work, but if you want to go back to Patreon, it also helps me be able to post these videos and post other videos that I can monetize. If that makes sense. I hate talking about Patreon and all that sort of thing, guys, but at the moment I just have to mention it because there's so much going on regarding movie reactions. Either way, let's check out Lord of the Rings, cameras in Middle-earth. I'm thoroughly looking for, and I think this is part 1 of 2 as well, and it's 50 minutes long, guys. Let's check it out. Okay, one more little add-on to the advertisement, guys. Because I'm wearing the hoodie, just realised, we're also deep into Season 5 of Buffy the Vampire Slayer on there as well, guys. And we're covering Angel as well. Loving that, guys. And so, if you want to get immediately caught up to where we are with the full reactions of those, you're very welcome to them. I'm thoroughly enjoying Buffy. Either way, cameras in Middle-earth, not cameras on Middle-earth. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
This is the biggest low-budget film being made anywhere in the world at this time.
You better not mess it up then.
The biggest low-budget film being made in the Wellington area.
In the Wellington area. It's the biggest low-budget film being made in the history of the planet.
Cameras in Middle Earth. There's the
Even though
music
we
straight
shot
away,
these
guys.
3 movies
Beautiful.
for 15 months. If we just had one unit shooting everything that needed to be shot, we'd be probably going for 6 or 7 years.
We had many units shooting, often 5 units shooting, sometimes 7 units shooting. Almost always
Wow.
2 cameras on each unit.
It was fairly high.
That's so
speed.
crazy to
I
me.
mean, Peter's one of those classic sort of people that his capacity to absorb a lot of information I find really amazing.
Wow.
So he's one of those sort of people that can work several shoots at once.
1A
Wow.
was the main unit, and the other unit was called 1B. And then it became apparent
surely
that
they're
even those
away
two
from each
units
other.
weren't going to get through this amount of footage, so we created a second unit, which was directed by John Mahaffey. And eventually, as we went along, we realised that the second unit were not going to get through everything that they needed to get through either. So we created a second unit, which was directed by Jeff Murphy.
She's all directed by different people.
Clear that he couldn't be everywhere that he would like to be at every one time, but the people that were there
Gordon
in his
Bennett.
place were ideal. They were the perfect people to be there. And Pete trusted them intrinsically, so we did.
Really would have to trust them. Serious trust. That's amazing. I mean, you see what other directors
Our principal Hobbiton
do with
set
other
was in,
storylines,
a
guys.
farm near
Stories, I
the
should
town
say.
of Matamata, and we shot a lot of the location footage there.
We'd seen beautiful sets before, but this was unbelievable because it was there, it was real, it was as we'd have imagined it. You know, Bag End was there with the massive tree sticking out of the top, coming down, as
So
we'd
cool.
seen it in various paintings and images before. It was exactly how we'd imagined it.
Hobbiton was an exceptional location, except that it was extremely difficult to access. All the roads were really paths.
Yeah, I bet.
It was a very
good, though.
fragile landscape, and yet we basically still had to come in with fairly sizable technology.
Oh, yeah.
But it just
I'd love to
required more
visit, guys. I really
physical
would.
labour to actually work the location.
Today we're keeping the chimneys up and running. There's 47 chimneys in the location, which
Wow.
all have particular secret little ingredient smoke pots in them to keep them
I bet.
up and running. So it looks
They look
like
amazing.
A little bit of activity happening in the buildings. So
All right.
how do you too?
Yeah, keep it down, mate.
As far as
Filming
what
it.
we wanted to do with Hobbiton, since it was the opening of the film, we basically wanted to start off with the sort of
Oh, I love it!
place, which is very
I love
you know,
it.
expressive of a simple lifestyle, a rural lifestyle, where people are actually very much in touch with nature. And I just wanted to make everyone feel like that it was like a holiday destination. People would love to want to go there.
Oh
You
my
walking
god,
throughout
yes.
The Shire.
That flight, though.
You could see what an enviable existence it was for the hobbits.
Can't leave Weasel for that long either.
Everything is absolutely a joy to be here.
I bet.
It's fun. It's something totally different. I think I would have paid money to be a hobbit.
Exactly.
But, no, it's been great.
What a great extra to be, guys. Seriously.
First day back on the shoot since Christmas in the new
Very
century,
bearded
and
hobbits.
it was also Ian McKellen's first day today.
Must do.
A wizard is never late. So go Baggins. Nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to.
And
Love
it felt
it.
like coming home, and that was a good feeling for me, because Gandalf was returning back to area of Middle Earth.
He fell off the stage a couple of days ago, didn't he? He's alright, apparently, but my goodness. Apparently so, guys.
We don't want any visitors, well-wishers, or distant relations.
What about very old friends?
Of course, once Gandalf walks inside Bag End, then you're into a studio. You're no longer at Matamata, you're several hundred miles away, and you're in a small, confined studio.
Often we filmed in 2 different scale sets. So Bag End was built, for example, in a large size scale for Ian Holm to appear in, and a small scale, the
Oh,
high
it's
size scale,
amazing.
Ian McKellen to walk through.
And in the smaller one, I, as a normal-sized person, could look enormous, because everything in Bag End was small.
Is that right that that wasn't
The
scripted?
Bilbo's
I feel like
party
you
takes place
guys
on
are telling me
the
that. It's a
party
bit of a
field. You see the party
stormtrooper
field
moment.
at Matamata in the daytime being prepared, but when you actually go to the party at night, you're now inside a studio. You're not in Matamata at all. You're in it's 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and you've got a studio pretending to be a Hobbit
Of
party at
course.
night. It would be great to get, with the fireworks, it'd be great to get more applause, you know? We're getting sort of, that, which is nice, it's certainly better. But if we got a bit of, you know, if we've got a bit of jumping and actually cheering, more cheering and clapping at each firework burst.
Yeah. There we go.
It was great.
Must be a fun job,
we had all
guys.
these extras as hobbits.
Serious job,
and
though.
this party scene was when they did that, the dance, and something that a lot of people might not have noticed is I play in the band.
Oh!
I'm up there
Banjo.
with my Hobbit ukulele. Whatever.
Oh, ukulele.
Bilbo's gonna
That's
take that
cool.
story just like a
Is that
story
in,
time.
actually
So we
in
need
the
you
movie as
sitting on
well?
the mat, just like you do at story time.
Who wants to see some butterflies? Jump up and down, jump up and down. And 2 and 3 and...
That's cool.
I remember Pete saying to us, this is the real time where you are hobbits, where you behave as hobbits.
Yeah, so true.
This mission yet, you're not worried about anything, you're just embracing.
But there's a
who you are
couple of
as
scenes
young
like that
hobbits,
in the Two Towers,
So
like
we
a
really
couple of
just went
scenes
to
where they
town
let their hair down a little bit.
had some fun, and I remember the day where the firework blows up in our
Oh.
face.
As soon as it goes bang, you've just got to let it go, okay? So how
Peter said to us that when we're holding the firework, it will be lifted up by a piece of string, and there'll be like
I didn't know.
Whoosh!
It was your idea.
to just kind of scare us and let the cameraman know when the cut is going to happen
Yeah.
for the real explosion. But Billy, being this kind of slightly feminine character that he is, was really quite scared by it and made this girly kind of woo shriek, which I barely got through the take on.
Supposed to stick it in the ground. Where's in the ground? Outside. That's your idea.
That's amazing. That's brilliant. And Barry immediately starts laughing.
I just get such a fright, and Dom just gave me abuse for it all day.
That can't be a natural scream. Seriously?
That was your idea.
Amazing. That was brilliant. Woo! Isengard. I still can't say it right.
And we finally get to start to do things with the villains. Like we've done a lot of shooting with the hobbits and Aragorn and our heroes, and it's great to finally get the dark part of the story.
Yes, Mr.
on
Christopher
film
Lee.
to start to set up the sort of the opposition, as it were. You're putting the pieces together and you're realising that this is.
Yes, I've been saying all the time to myself, and for his ring to start now. Ruins.
Yeah.
Almost to myself.
Almost to yourself. But it's obviously a big thrill to work with
This is
someone like Christopher
fascinating
Lee, who's a
seeing,
bit of
like,
a,
such
icon,
actors
and,
doing their
I haven't
thought
mentioned
process.
it to him at this stage, but I've been a big fan of his, obviously, most of my life. And
Oh, exactly,
watching,
yeah.
Hammer horror double features when I was a kid, and
He likes his horror,
you know,
guys, I know that
it's
much.
just sort of fun and a little bit unbelievable to finally be working with someone like that and having them on the set and directing them, and it's a big thrill.
No, my first day in the garden, remember we got to take 10.
That
It's
voice.
very unusual with me.
Amazing.
I don't say that in an immodest way. I mean, there just isn't time in most films. 10, 11, 12. Surely we got that right. But it was Peter who wanted that line up, that line down.
Yeah.
That word, that way, and those words, that way, or whatever. He waited until he got it. And it took a lot of takes sometimes.
I bet.
Well, we got used to it and realized that was the way he worked. No problem. I remember saying to Ian, I'm getting a bit worried about this, because I think we got to take 11 or 12 or something, and I think I got it right. Oh, he said, you don't have to worry about that. I had 24 takes the other day.
Amazing.
Why don't I say, just to complicate it, say your line again.
The 9 have left Minas Morgul. They have crossed the ice.
The 9.
The 9.
The interior of Orsank was,
Wow, I'm
as far
sorry,
as I was concerned, papers,
This is fascinating
dust,
to me. I could just sit here in silence, seriously.
sunlight coming through stained glass. A mess. And then leading out from that, the more imposing, dark inner sanctum with Saruman's large chair, like a throne.
Yeah.
Raised up above the very shiny black surface of the floor. It was a place like no other. I'd never been in a room like that. It didn't remind me of anything. And I just thought, oh, I see, this is where Saruman thrives and plots. And so that was a very evocative and helpful set.
Yeah.
The costume was extremely long, and I had considerable difficulty in walking up the steps to my throne.
Oh, I bet.
Sometimes I managed to do it, sometimes I didn't. And one day I was driven to distraction when I kept on tripping. And I said,
I don't want to see him fall over.
I cannot get up these goddamn steps smoothly. I can't do it, Peter. I'm sorry, because every time I try, I step on the thing. And a voice came from near the camera saying, well, you did it this morning.
Oh, thanks.
Put me in my place.
Amazing.
Did Saruman the Wise abandon reason for madness?
I'm sorry, guys. I stopped reacting now. I was just so fascinated by that last scene with the two actors talking.
I was having to do the wizard fight. It was one of those deals where, you know, I was doing the stunt shots between Gandalf and Saruman.
Right.
So it's like, oh, God, Jesus.
Wow! That's cool. Set there.
The stunts were superbly well done. I had no idea what it was going to look like. I had no idea.
Wow.
Until I saw the film. Works very well. Very well indeed.
I'm amazed that even was someone spinning around there.
Second unit's first day was actually at night, and it was the moment with the trees being ripped out at Isengard.
Oh, wow.
And we were kind of in and out of rain that whole weekend. And that kind of became the mantra for second unit.
It rained for about 2 weeks, and so this whole scene was shot in pouring rain in the middle
It looked
of the
better
night
for
on
it. It
beautiful
looked dramatic
green
for
grass,
it.
which turned into about 8 inches of slimy mud within an hour of starting. And it just added another dimension to the whole the look
Yeah.
of it.
No, I completely agree.
Shininess, muddiness, grungy, sort of real.
You almost can't tell it is raining there, but it definitely does. It definitely has effect on it.
Imagine.
That was the second, like the second thing the second unit did.
The very first day of photography, in actual fact, was a scene on the Woodland Road where the hobbits have to hide from the ring wraith.
I thought you could turn around and say, quick! You know, just quick, yeah.
Rather than go to some remote place in the country to film this woodland, obviously there's many wonderful woods in New Zealand.
Oh yes.
You know, there's actually a park in the middle of the city that is
wow
Victoria, and it's
this must be a tourist spot.
It's only 5 minutes drive from the studio, and we thought, well, you know, why travel down to the South Island, or you know, when we can actually just shoot this on our doorstep.
Absolutely.
We're going into standby mode then, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Say one more time, all mobile phones had better be off or they'll end up in the ocean. And your radios off if they're open, please.
Oh, imagine if your phone went off during a scene like this.
You know, Kara Cunningham, for me, our first assistant director, you know, she's one of those people that you can't imagine getting through the movies without.
She has a great aesthetic understanding of what you're trying to achieve. So if it's sort of crunch time and she has a problem, you do everything in your power to help her out, because all the rest of the time she's doing absolutely everything in her power to allow Peter and myself to perform our jobs to the maximum possibility.
That must be a stressful job.
And action! Get off the road! Quick! Quick!
I knew
this is so cool seeing the behind the
what
scenes
I was
stuff,
in
guys.
for
Such a good scene.
that day when Peter, you know, would bring the second or the third camera in and put it in close on us and say, okay, now it's the most terrifying thing you've ever experienced. It's just this primal fear, and I want you to feel the fear. And he's talking us through this kind of idea of having our kind of spirit and souls and our whole essence disturbed by the presence of this Black Rider, and realizing that you couldn't just think about that.
Cool. Look at that!
Feel it, that something was going to
So cool.
happen, that it registered for Peter and on screen. It was an awesome
thank you.
acting challenge. awesome.
That is one of the coolest things,
The town
guys.
of Bri was one of the very first sets that we shot in, you know, towards the end of our first week of shooting.
Yeah, this
I
is
think we
inside,
shot
isn't it?
all of Bri, for the most part, the actual city street of Bri in one night. And we had the
Wow.
rain tower.
Oh, it is outside.
Crazy.
Oh, yeah. Amazing.
It blew me away that they could take a very small piece of set.
Wow.
And sort of build it into the earth, and then film it and pan off of it, and just trust that digitally the rest of the world would be created beyond that.
Yeah.
The prancing pony was, like most of the sets, very authentic, really well crafted. It was a place where you step on the soundstage, you walk in the door to the prancing pony, and you're there. I mean, it was so well constructed.
And then we had these massive tables that we sat at. So it
Of
made
course,
us
I was
look
going to say,
small. Like,
yeah,
we
of
were
course.
Too small for the big tables. Big mugs and, you know, big plates. It made us feel smaller, and it kind of made that
Well, that's the
world
point.
more realistic for us.
What's that? This, my friend, is a pint. It comes in pints.
Oh,
I'm
yes.
getting one.
Midwater, oh, Marsh. I know, yeah.
It's
yes.
really nice for the people involved in the Midwater Marshes sequence to see it back in the DVD.
I think it was important to feel that the journey from Bri to Rivendell was not an easy one.
The Midwaters were basically
Oh, this is
us
what I thought it was at
along
all.
this journey with Strider, trudging through these kind of marshy, nasty wetlands.
It was freezing.
Of course,
cold.
yeah,
The
I
feet
remember.
was so cold that you just couldn't feel anything. Meanwhile, you've got Pete Jackson like hiding underneath the little trailer, giggling, you know, because he's got his 4 hobbits and Aragorn going through this water that stinks and will
Presumably
fall
they got
over.
the
Billy
feet
fell
on
flat
as
his
well.
back, and it was a rough day, and I remember we all went to the pub that night and were drinking lots of kind of hearty drinks like whiskey and mulled
After a
wine
bath?
and all that kind of stuff, because it just chilled you to your bones. You know?
Wow, yeah. Such a short scene as well.
The sword work on the movie was obviously
Weathertop.
incredibly important.
Oh,
Weathertop
God, of
was
course.
One of the early
This must have been a
fights in the
set.
film.
Weathertop was the main thing that we rehearsed before we started filming.
You know, the actors arrived about 6 or 8 weeks before the shoot. Having sword lessons with Bob Anderson was always part of their regime.
We had so much fun learning how to do the sword fighting, and we actually choreographed a number of very involved sequences. And I remember when we were filming on Weathertop,
Wow.
I was bringing the full weight of my kind of anger and ferocity to it. And I remember people saying,
Jeez.
well, listen, you know, you're a hobbit, and you couldn't actually generate that much force to
Yeah, exactly.
have your sword move the sword of the ringwraith if you
I was
were to
thinking
strike it.
Pippin was moving a
So
bit fast
you gotta
then.
kind of pull it back, and I remember feeling like, man, no one's gonna see that I'm really good at this sword stuff. It's
not the point.
Hobbit doing it.
Amazing.
The irony is that the person that had to be the most accomplished swordsman in the film, which was Viggo Mortensen playing Aragorn, Viggo didn't get cast in the movie until we were a few days into shooting the film. So he didn't have any of the advantage of this training with Bob, and he'd never used a sword before. So Viggo arrives in New Zealand, he gets off the plane, and the Weathertop fight scene is like the first thing he's going to shoot.
So Bob
What?
Anderson was my first guide, basically, and he was pretty strict, but really
Gotta
encouraging.
be.
I think he gave Viggo the most crash course in sword fighting that anyone's ever had, because Viggo had to be there fighting these ringwraiths, fighting 5 ringwraiths at the same time, looking like an expert swordsman. And I
Wow.
tell you, Viggo just became, I think, the greatest swordsman that Bob has ever worked with in his entire career.
Time to go, guys. That's insane. That was the first sword fight that he did. This appears to be Fellowship, this extra.
We actually
Just Fellowship, I should say.
realized that bringing Arwen's voice down to a really low register, how that suddenly just made everything work because it showed her depth and her age and her wisdom. It was hard. I mean, just purely guttural, you know, kind of lauhirnin. It sounded really weird at times when I was doing it. I thought, oh my God, this is too deep. But
I didn't even
it was
notice.
funny when my dad saw the movie for the first time. He's like, whose voice was that?
Oh, God.
It's mine. I'm an actress.
How dare you? That's so cool. So, well, there's sort of things that you just don't notice until it's explained to you, know, but it just worked perfectly. God, what a scene this was. Yeah, this is definitely Fellowship, so I presume the next one may be the other two movies, maybe? It's longer, it's longer than this. I was not even paying attention. That was a joke.
And cutting! Cut!
They must have hundreds of hours of footage of Jane riding, and she was incredible.
Oh, I bet. In fact, she was one of the who got one of the horses, wasn't she? I'm pretty certain.
The action that we're doing is like, you know, like yesterday we were jumping over a log and then galloping down
I
the
think
steep
we may have heard
hill.
of her before.
Another day, you know, you're galloping along, weaving through trees.
Oh my God!
I don't think it was ever a question. I was never going to be allowed on the stallion going at that speed. That was just
God,
never an
no!
option. I
Can you
was
say
on
lawsuit?
the back of a truck on a barrel with, you know, this kind of a horse skin wrapped around it, and I had to do this.
Yeah. There must have been a lot of that in Lord of the Rings.
And, I mean, that was rough.
Oh, yes, please, Rivendell. I'll talk about places I'd like to visit,
Rivendell
guys.
Location was primarily built at a park called Kaitoki.
We chose it really because it had, you know, quite a closed-in geography, and so that the set that we built would have a sense of drifting off into the forest. So its boundaries were sort of forested, if you like.
So, I mean, the elves, that whole concept of being one with the nature was pretty important. And as a result, Peter had the design team, you know, have this kind of indoor-outdoor feel throughout. So we would have outdoor sets, you know, for exterior shooting, as well as sets outdoors for interior shooting. And we mimicked that on the stage as well, where we would have, you know, interior sets of Rivendell that still have that outdoor feel. So we'd have trees on the stage, you know, or we'd have like, you know, matte painting backdrops, you know, of rocks and whatnot in the distance.
Oh, wow.
And the thing is, I mean, in the end, you still basically, what you do is you look at, you know, you just try and sort of remember the qualities of natural light that are in the environment, or the sort of qualities you want to achieve.
I was going to say, it'd be cool if they left this set there, but you can't leave this sort of set in this sort of location.
Qualities, except that you have to do it artificially.
The reason we built Elrond's council chamber inside was we had to control the environment completely, so it wasn't something we could really
The lighting,
shoot out of Kaitoki.
You know, we were literally sitting in a circle of actors like Ian McKellen, Hugo Weaving, Viggo Mortensen, Sean Bean, John Rhys Davies, you know, Elijah was there, and, you know, it was...
And you?
It was just like, I was looking around, I was sitting there thinking, whoa, this is a real lineup of some greats.
Yeah.
Sauron himself.
And there's so many others that aren't in this scene.
Golden gold mixed with his own blood. Contains his life force.
The Council of Elrond is a long scene in the book, much shorter in the film.
Wow,
but
really?
it did take a long time to shoot.
How long is it in the
It
book?
dominates
It's
most
like a
of my
proper
memory,
debate.
because the council scene took about...
That's fascinating.
My God, I think it took the better half of like 5 days.
We spent a lot of time because we had to sort of cover it from more or less every angle. You see all the characters all in a circle. So we had to shoot it from everybody's point of view.
Right.
And so by the end, I mean, I think we all knew each other's lines because we'd heard them that many times.
Oh God, I'm
Probably the
sure.
longest sequence in the movie, which is kind of shocking because I think that there are scenes that seem a little bit more complicated than that.
What?
But just pure scenes. That was one of the longest.
That's...
You shall be the fellowship
But Star...
of the ring.
Right.
Where are we going?
I guess when it comes to dialogue, yeah, I guess it would be. That's crazy. That's okay. I'm not even sure that's true.
Some of the locations were incredibly remote. We occasionally just flew people in choppers, which was a fairly major operation. We usually had to have 4 or 5 helicopters making several trips to the location to get everybody up there. And there was always, you know, serious safety considerations because...
Oh, God, yeah.
If you're stuck on these mountains and suddenly, you know, a storm sweeps in or clouds sweep in, the helicopters kind of can't land or fly, and there's a very big danger that everyone's going to get stranded and have to spend the night on this mountaintop or wherever you are. And so
that would be
always,
scary.
You know, used to take survival kits up there. We used to take tents and rations and stuff up there.
Oh, yeah.
For in case the situation arose that we would
worst case scenario
for a day or two without being able to be rescued. It was
sounds like it didn't happen though.
And one of the most spectacular mountains was a place near Mount Aspiring where we did the scene in the snow where Boromir picks up the ring out of the snow and holds it, and
he did
that
return
was
it
shot on a very remote mountainside because I just wanted to be able to feel that we were really up the mountains and we weren't just cheating it on a ski field or something somewhere.
I think it took 10 or 15 minutes.
Skiers going past in the background would be amazing.
Cloud, which freaked me out. Couldn't see anything. And I was normally fine in helicopters, and I was always really excited to be in helicopters, but it was actually quite turbulent. The weather wasn't perfect.
And all the other guys were great. They were filming it, and Dominic and Billy and Orlando saying, "Oh man, this is amazing!" And I was sort of gripping the seat, just thinking.
Oh, really? I flew for the second time recently, guys. I got window seat as well. It was amazing, absolutely amazing.
Able to think about, or would be fighting, thinking about.
Not in a helicopter.
For the rest of the
Plane.
day was, I have to ride back. You know, and I thought, man, it's a crucial scene, and he has a moment with the ring. It's a very,
oh my God,
yes,
it's crucial
moment for the Fellowship, and he really did well. I thought that was one of his outstanding moments in the movie.
It is a strange fate that we should suffer so much fear and doubt. So small a thing.
Afterwards, I said, you know, when we were getting ready to go, and I said, were you thinking about the fact that we would have to ride back again in the helicopter? You know, were you thinking about it? He says, all the time. The whole time.
Every second.
I don't know how you did it, but you really nailed it.
He's
After
brilliant.
this
He's a great actor,
journey,
guys.
He didn't take any more helicopter rides. He just said, that's it. I'll walk, I'll swim, I'll crawl. I'll do whatever it takes. I'll walk all night to get there by morning, but I'm not taking any more helicopter rides.
Wow.
Shortly afterwards, we had to go to another location, which was in the Remarkables in Queenstown by a lake to shoot a scene.
Well, Sean absolutely did not want to fly and said, look, I'll take the ski lift up and then I'll walk the rest of the way.
In full gear.
We shot there for 2 or 3 days, and our day would begin with everybody flying in the helicopters, and as we flew over at 7:30 in the morning, we'd look down and there'd be this tiny black speck climbing the cliff. It was almost like
oh
a cliff
my
face, and it was
God,
Sean Bean dressed up as Boromir.
Yes, oh my God,
like a human fly on the wall, clambering up this mountainside.
What is that?
By himself to sort of get to the location because he didn't want to go there on a chopper. He had like 2 hours of climbing to do.
That should have been in the movie.
Helicopter. And I was sweating at the end. It was a real adventure getting over those.
That's a strong phobia, guys.
Set, but I did, I preferred doing it that way.
Yeah, good for you. It keeps you blubbered fit as well. I would have never thought that Sean Bean scared of heights,
The
guys,
scene
or
of the
flying, I guess.
Fellowship and the Avalanche was very difficult to shoot. I actually didn't shoot much of that. That was directed by John Mahaffey. It was shot in a stage with this fake snow.
The simulated snow is a rice-based product.
Rice.
To taste, it was kind of salty or something. It was kind of like almost like sawdust, salty sort of sawdust or something. It was horrible.
It gets into your eyes. It affects your eyes more than anything else.
That can't be good for you.
Even after one day of it, it left your face really red and raw, you know.
Puffy, I bet.
Really got in your eyes and your ears, your whole body. It was a high salt content in it.
God.
You know, filmmaking is
dangerous stuff.
Intuitive. when it's supposed to be freezing cold and snowing, you're invariably on a set where the Klieg lights are on and you're so hot that your sweat is pouring down your face.
Yeah, of course.
You have to keep saying to yourself, no, I'm feeling very cold. I'm in the snow. Despite the
apart from Orlando, of course,
warmth of the bright lights. However, uncomfortable is what it must be to be in an
Actually, I guess
avalanche,
Orlando would still feel cold.
So in the end, it's probably an aid
Legless,
to
I should say.
believability.
Amazing. That must have been horrible scene to film. Moria!
The exterior for Moria was shot on a wet set. It was shot in a car park right by a railway station, which is really
amazing
funny when you think about it, because, you know, it looks so convincing as the
yeah,
outside.
why? Why is it in a car park? Controlled environment, I guess, isn't it?
Hey, Orlando? Yeah. Just be careful turning, because it looks a little like if you're turning that far, you'd probably see it. Okay. Being an elf and everything, so probably don't turn quite so much.
It was freezing. The nights that we had to do the exterior stuff there, it was some of the coldest nights I can remember. I remember actually Billy Boyd, I think, was probably the coldest of us all.
That evening is the coldest my feet have ever been. To the point that I'm almost going to have to say it, like, I can't actually go on.
Wow.
It was like 4 or 5 in the morning.
It's
we'd done
very
this shot
dangerous.
quite a few times, and I was becoming really, really uncomfortable. So that's my abiding memory of outside the gates of Moria.
Wow. Fascinating.
The long dark of Moria.
Sorry guys, I'm often just finding myself just watching rather than reacting here. This is absolutely fascinating.
An illuminated bulb on top that had to be
cool.
provided with electricity, and it travelled along the wire through a hollow staff out through the
no
bottom,
batteries.
And the wire was hidden under the robes into a battery pack attached to my back.
I don't think you were sort of holding it in any particularly. Well, I think you're just using it, you know, just as a torch, basically. Yeah.
Brian Bansgrove was our chief lighting technician or gaffer.
Steve P's like to have a great relationship with their chief lighting technicians or gaffers.
Oh yes, especially in this scene.
Because sometimes, you know, it can get a bit lonely out there. There's not a lot of people that really sort of understand the finer intricacies of light. I basically really appreciated Brian for his eye. It's
that
great
outfit.
When you've got a gaffer on set who actually understands the emotion of what you're trying to do with the light that you've got.
And when you do a film that's visually effects laden,
oh
and
wow,
CG characters, you often have to act to someone that might not even be there. If you're acting like a cave troll, for example, well, there is no cave troll.
As an actor,
this is
you
always
just had
fascinating.
to believe that they were going to create something spectacular that you were fighting.
Peter showed us things, CGI stuff, you know, which gives an idea of what we were fighting. Even though
my goodness,
thin air, we knew
I hope
what
that's
it
long
would
cloth.
probably look like in the end. And once you get into the rhythm of that, that's fine. You know, you can sort of deal with it, and it becomes very natural.
We'd already faced so many different situations together as a group that it was all right.
It's like a video
there
game.
was just a lot more that was invisible, and therefore a lot more make-believe involved in that, shooting that sequence.
And then when
directing something like that must be insane.
Because it all makes sense. You know, sometimes somebody's telling you to do something, and it seems really weird, and it seems wrong, and it seems, but this is crazy. But you said trust, you know, trust it. It's going to be good, and it did, you know.
Jeez, yeah, that must have been a tough one.
Well, the one thing that you're not going to be able to tell at the moment is that we're in this warehouse next to Wellington Airport, and it's incredibly hot and humid, and there's no air conditioning in the building, and we've got huge amounts of light, and it's really giving this place a very subtropical jungle sort of feel.
Wow.
It's freezing in here, Pete. You have a jumper? Yeah, I better get my big woolly jacket and my gloves and my balaclava.
I wanted to do something special for Galadriel. I felt that of all the people in the story, she was, in a way, more connected with a spiritual world.
Yeah.
And I took my biggest cue off out of the writing of Tolkien, which basically described her as saying, no sign of age was upon her, except in the depths of her eyes, keen lances in the starlight, wells of deep memory.
Wow.
I wanted to find a visual interpretation for that somehow. So what we did, Brian and I did a few little experiments, and we eventually came up with what we called the Galadrielite. We went out and bought many Christmas lights and we festooned them all over this rig. And what it did is it actually reflects like Starfield in her eyes.
Oh,
because, you know, to me, it's
yeah.
like a lot of performances in the eyes, and I wanted her highlights to be different to everybody else's in the film.
Wow!
The scene where the Fellowship depart,
That's
Lorien,
amazing.
receive their gifts had to be shot on the sort of edge of a pretty riverbank, and
Just her. That's amazing.
instead of
Such
finding
detail.
a river, we actually found basically a lake, a small lake in a country estate called Fernside.
We're just basically pumping a lot of smoke and using the sun and trying to get, you know, God rays and things to make it feel
Where's
a
the
little bit
swan
ethereal,
boat?
elven, dreamlike, Lothlorien.
I had a lot of fun there in that location. They had this huge trunk with, like, you know, huge roots going off into the water, as if they were almost like little docking areas. These huge roots going into the water. So yeah, that was a beautiful location actually.
That's not
There's
real
a dreamlike
shit.
quality to that whole place, with all of the kind of fog that we put through there, and the fact that we as the Fellowship were kind of together in this sequence as well.
You Samwise Gamgee, Elven Road.
Thank you, my lady. Look, have you run out of those nice shiny daggers?
We shot that scene over
Ran out.
which I'm really glad has gone back into the extended cut now, because it's quite a nice scene and sort of essential to the story.
Oh,
because
that wasn't in the
Fellowship
original
are given
cut?
gifts which they use
Wow.
in subsequent movies.
I actually
So
don't know
I'm glad
what
that
was
we're actually
was
able
added
to
with the
let
addition
people see
actually.
that scene now, because it sort of sets things up for the next two films.
It really does.
Technically, the scene was difficult because when you
So
read about
strange
it,
seeing Gimli without the gear on.
It's quite enchanting. You know, Gimli says, yes, there is one thing I would have. I would have one hair from your head.
Smooth line.
And she gives him 3. Now, on the page, that works. But think about it in terms of film. There's the dwarf with his great big gloves on. And there's this elegant, wonderful woman. And what's she going to be doing? She's going to be doing, all right, then you got a hair. So then, oh, damn. Well, there it is. Can you see the hair? There is actually a hair in my hand.
Oh, no.
Right? No, she's got to fish out 3 anyway. All right, so now, what does she do? She gives this hair to me. What do I do?
Yeah, massive
do I
gloves.
how do I take it? I mean, do I put it in the glove like that and say, oh, yeah.
Ask her to put it in a pouch.
I mean, it is just too cumbersome to film.
What was her gift?
I asked her for one hair from her golden head.
I can't remember if that pays off, you know.
She gave me 3.
Because obviously the other items pay off. I'm not sure if the hair... I'm sure that you guys had told me before and I've forgotten
Some of the
about it.
rivers that we were shooting on
Or maybe
in
that's-
South Island, you know, they were picked for their beauty, but they were fast flowing and they were very deep. And there were currents, and so one of the training regimes that we set up for our actors when they first arrived in New Zealand was boat handling skills, you know,
Yeah.
basic like canoe type skills, and I know they had a lot of fun. Sort of. I think that most of their training, which was done off a wharf in the harbour, was revolved around.
Whoa,
things like each other's
careful!
sink. But
That'll
it
be
did
me.
ultimately come in very handy, because usually it wasn't doubles in these boats. It was usually the actors themselves. We only had one mishap that I was aware of, which was shooting the scene where the actors are looking up at the Argonath, and that was a very deep, swift-flowing river. And Orlando Bloom was paddling his canoe, and he had a small Gimli. It wasn't John Rhys Davies, it was Brett.
Small
who was
Gimli. Sort
of a small Gimli, double dwarf size.
Myself and Brett were in this boat, and one of the guys filming grabbed the front of our boat and stopped us because we were going on downstream, and he just stopped us to catch us. But the water was running so fast that when he held onto the boat, it just started to come over the top of the boat and into the boat. And so we just started going down. Really, and I was going, let go of the boat, let go, man, because he was holding onto it, trying to help us.
And these guys went under the water. The boat sunk.
Footage
and
now.
All we had lots of safety boats. They rushed in.
And Brett Beatty was in. I mean, it's kind of funny, except that Brett was in this like armor. Like, he's in heavy armor, man. That's chainmail that he was wearing, and he's got this wetsuit on. And he had like a blow up thing underneath him, a blow-up life jacket in case.
Oh, right,
and he
okay.
pulled that, and it didn't really inflate. I could see him going down, so I just went like, I was holding on to this guy, and I just yanked him up out of the water, and he was like, and I was holding him up like this, and he was like going.
Oh my
like,
God!
He was freaked out, man, and we chucked
I'm
him up,
sure.
and he was okay, but it was like. For a minute there, man. I mean,
that'd
that
be
could
scary.
I think Orlando was more embarrassed than anything to be the one member of the fellowship who kind of sunk his boat whilst on
This
active
stuff
duty.
follows Orlando Bloom, I swear.
We're pretty, pretty tippy. They were
He's cursed, he really is.
And because of the scale issue, it was Kieran Shaw, was Frodo. And I remember that when we did the wide shot, we were really moving down that river. And Kieran, we're doing the first take, and Kieran's going, "Vito, don't worry about me." And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm trying to talk without moving my lips, 'cause
all right.
If we flip over, I said, we're not gonna flip over. And he goes,
Oh, wow.
If we flip over, just save yourself.
Oh no!
I can't swim.
Oh God! How did that? How's that allowed?
I couldn't believe it. Then
God bless
really
him.
nervous. Like if someone's watching you driving, you start overcoming. And I was like, every eddy now became fraught with, possibilities.
Yeah, I'm
And after that
sure.
take, I said, "You're kidding, right?" And he goes, "No."
It's a fast current, guys. God. That's terrifying. Okay, that is actually scary. But I swear, trouble follows Orlando Bloom in these movies, guys.
Like 2 or 3 months after we started shooting, we ended up filming our first really big battle scenes, I guess, of the trilogy. And they were the Ammon hen fights at the climax of the Fellowship.
This is a fight routine that happens on top of this hill, and you guys are charged up the brow of the hill, and you're flooding over here, and Aragorn here, Vigo, gets to fight you single-handedly. One versus 100.
Your killing machines move forward with the intention that you're going to kill. So keep
Yeah.
it fluid, not stilted.
Undefensive.
Do the best you can. Thank you.
Richard made this impassioned speech, for the sake of authenticity, this and that. But it was about bloodlust, about don't be afraid to maim, and just,
attack.
He was trying to do justice to Tolkien's vision, and so he was just, there is no mercy, there is no, and these guys, you could see them shaking with anticipation, and I looked over at Pete, and then I looked over at the stunt coordinator, who was just going like that, who was feeling the same as I, which was, these guys didn't need any more.
In this version of Lord of the Rings, Aragorn dies at the end of the Fellowship.
The snot out of me. I'm not gonna be ashamed if I have to just turn around and run my ass off down the hill. No problem.
Yeah? Do sure be.
Long shoot ahead of me.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's really very cool. So crazy that he had no practice with swords before, guys. Before this film, I should say. And it looked amazing.
It was blazingly hot. It was like, over 100 degrees, and these poor guys were wearing this
God.
all this leather and fiberglass costumes with rubber masks.
Warm in there. It's very warm in there.
Did they not have a room that you could go into, which is like a colder room,
Turn around, yep, turn around.
A lot of people there, though.
The great rules of karate are: if you cannot stand, you cannot fight. If you cannot see, you cannot fight. If you cannot breathe, you cannot fight.
Yeah.
Sure enough,
I like that. It's cool.
My helmet over my eyes like that. And it's true.
Swinging around.
Very, very hard to fight.
I think I have to say that Lurtz, who is a general of the Urukai army, is potentially my favourite character. He's played by an actor called Lawrence Mohure, an imposing gentleman even when he's not in his prosthetics.
That's hilarious. Amazing.
Strike a pose and let's get with it.
And stay on it.
Whoa.
It's like a troll. Well, we call them trolls, those little pencil things. You know what I'm talking about. Oh, Boromir. Ah.
Barry Osborne directed most of the fight between Aragorn and Lurtz.
When you're running into that next shot, you really take off.
There was an idiot screw up in this, wasn't there? I think you guys had told me before. Maybe we'll go into it here.
On this movie, I have so much to do that it takes actually quite a lot of effort to be able to do this. And I find myself conflicted. But right now, finishing the movie seems to me to be the most important thing, and helping Peter out in that fashion is appropriate on this film.
Okay. Oh, but it looks fine. Are you gonna be okay with light and stuff? Have you got some lights up there?
Are you gonna tie it off?
Blasting in there. Okay. Well, you better shoot it faster before it gets too shady. Well, we don't want to lock it off long enough because it's just. But we have to keep him humid. We have to keep him feeling happy and good.
Yeah.
So we just give him a camera and a crew, and he's as happy as Larry. He stays off our backs. It's a brilliant scheme.
Right, thanks.
Saw that earlier, didn't we?
Okay, yeah, now Barry's got a motivation now, you see, you won't. So come towards us, Barry, and raise your sword. That's it.
Like that.
Anytime you make a movie with the sort of physical action, you know, that we have, there's always a danger of people getting hurt. I mean, you obviously take every possible precaution that you can. But
even then, yeah,
you know, with that, people do get hurt. Fortunately, on the film, we never had any particularly serious injuries. Not really serious, although one of the worst ones actually happened to Sean Astin, and it was a relatively simple shot where Sean had to be on the shore of the lake and he had to run out to the boat.
I'm running at a dead sprint, and I get in, and my left foot and as my right foot lands about 2 feet in the water. Just this huge sharp pain, and I grabbed onto the side of the boat and I just looked down, and it hurt so bad.
What? Did he step on something, or is it the leg? Like splinter a bone or something?
Where are you?
There's bloomin' feet, guys.
Let's sit him down. Look at his foot. Want to sit on the bench?
Am I about to scream, guys? They're going to show something really horrible.
Had virtually been completely impaled on glass.
No!
When they took the prosthetic off, it was a big, old, deep gash in the foot. I mean, it was a substantial cut.
Part of me thinks I've heard this story before. Maybe you guys told me in the comments. I don't remember seeing it, though. Alright. Smug. When you go off to Mount Doom on your own.
Thing, this mass that came out of the slit in his foot.
Oh my god, imagine that, guys. Like,
Master Frodo can play with my clots anytime he wants to. I'm fascinated by his blood clot.
We were a good hour and a half's drive out of Tiana. It was a long way. It was quite remote. We called for a chopper to come in. We knew we needed to get him to a hospital very, very quickly because there was a lot of bleeding.
So the helicopter guy came out and we jumped in, and it was Jacques Cousteau's pilot. The guy who had flown Jacques Cousteau around on some of his expeditions, which I thought was really cool.
Oh, imagine that, guys. Full.
You know, it's a
full
magic project
whack,
because
just
it made
stepping
everyone
onto
so
glass.
passionate.
Jeez.
But, like, when I walk away from it, it's not only the creation of the film, it's the people who created it is what is the experience that I love.
There was an awful lot of love involved in this film, and it spread out from Peter Jackson, who was typical of his other Kiwis. Dedication and love are all mixed together.
It was made with love, it was made with great care and commitment, and I do genuinely think that spirit has made its way onto the screen.
Oh my goodness, in
that
buckets.
in a way, to me, is what the real heart of the Fellowship of the Ring is. It goes beyond the heart of Tolkien's book and something of this incredible spirit that was used making it has made its way onto the finished film.
Fantastic, guys. That did not feel like 50 minutes. Now, granted, it wasn't 50 minutes. It's 20 seconds underneath 50 minutes, but that flew by. No disrespect, Sean Bean. I really did not feel like 50 minutes, guys. These documentaries are so freaking beautiful to watch, and I think I've remarked on it before, guys, that they're almost as enjoyable as watching the movies. I think a lot of you guys have said that, hey, very often when you come home from work and everything, or from school and everything, and you think that you want to watch something, you will put on the extras instead of the movie sometimes. And I can completely see that, because they have a story themselves. That Sam injury is very interesting to me, guys, because I swear that I've heard about another injury where I can't remember who it was, but I feel like it was one of the other three hobbits, and it was something to do with like them getting something stuck in their foot back before Bri. It's when Frodo leaps onto the raft. I swear that something happened to one of their feet there, or am I imagining that? But oh god, that just now was horrible. So just imagine like full whack, just going straight onto it. Damn it. And how can you check for that sort of thing before filming it? You just can't, guys. It's a river. Fiddlesticks. Fiddlesticks. Having the different directors is very interesting, guys. And, you know, the amount of trust in those directors would have to be through the freaking roof. Especially for Peter Jackson to shut off and think, okay, I can trust them. To not be, backseat directing and everything all the time. Calling about to say how everything's going and everything. Yeah, that takes a lot of trust. It really, really does. Sean Bean. I don't know if he's scared of heights so much, because it's different, isn't it, guys? I don't think that I'd be... Because, like I say, I've flown, like, once long ago to and from Spain. And the second time I've ever flown was this past weekend, going to and from Glasgow. And when I was going to Spain, I was in the middle of the plane, so I didn't really get to see much. And I think I was a bit nervous, because it was literally the first time I'd ever flown. But when my brother was organising the tickets for Glasgow, the flights, I did say to him, hey, how much would it be to guarantee a window seat? And it was only like a few quid. And so I thought, you know what? If I want to post a video about like the trip to Glasgow, which I might do, guys, I have all the footage for it. Then it would be ideal to get some window shots and everything. And as I was, after the stress of getting through security and lots of things, guys, which genuinely terrified me, because I'm autistic, guys, doing that sort of thing is like a big event. I must have watched hundreds of YouTube videos about airport security and what you're meant to do and what you're not meant to do and everything. I watched them all, guys, seriously, all the videos ever. There's also numerous other stressful things I won't tell you about when it came to that trip as well. Nothing to do with me. To do with someone else. It doesn't matter. It all worked out fine. But then when we're actually getting onto the plane, I was thinking, am I going to be a bit nervous? Because this is going to be a visual which I've never seen before. But seriously, guys, once we got up, it was I was not scared in the slightest. I thought it's absolutely stunning. I couldn't stop taking photographs and videos and everything of, like, you know, the British countryside and everything. Saw the coast as well, which is amazing. So yeah. But in a helicopter, I feel like it would be a lot different. So I don't know if Sean Bean is particularly scared of heights or being in a helicopter. I feel like that would actually be pretty different. But the fact that he straight up refused going forward was amazing. The fact that he was climbing in the Boromir gear is absolutely brilliant as well. Billy getting closer to saying that they'd had to stop outside of Moria. That, of all the scenes, you'd think, yeah, that scene is not one which you'd think that one of the actors would be coming closer to actually saying, no, I cannot go on. Jeez. He's a professional, though. His scream at the start is amazing. Oh, I love Hobbiton so much, guys. And I was saying it would be cool if you could go and see what they built for Rivendell. But then again, it really wouldn't be much. And also, in that sort of countryside, you really don't want that to be there, you know? And I guess that a lot of people would say that's the case with Dobby's thing in West Wales, which we visited. But Hobbiton being somewhere that you actually can visit, guys. I'd love to, guys, but I mean, I like I say, I went to Scotland for like a day and a half. Well, basically 2 days. And for a lot of it, particularly at night, I was just thinking about Woozle. And she was being looked after and everything, but I you know, she's a dog who's been through it, guys, and so I couldn't possibly go to Australia because it'd be days when it would probably be a day to fly there. I have literally no idea. It'd be a long time to fly there. And then, you know, organising getting out there and going to Hobbiton and everything like that, it would have to be several days. I just can't do that to Woozle. I really can't. She's my main focus in life. You know, I should say, guys, Woozle is my she's a slooky greyhound. We thought she was a lurcher when I first got her. She's a slooky greyhound, and she's been through it, guys. She had a very bad start to life, and so I wouldn't want to put her through any distress that, you know, of me not being there for her. But that being said, I would love to visit Hobbiton. What they need to do is they need to make a you know what they should do? They should make a Hobbiton in the Cotswolds, guys. Because quite frankly, they easily could. The Cotswolds, which is very near where I live, could easily facilitate a place that would look very much like Hobbiton. So they need to get on that stat, quite frankly. The thing where Gandalf says about a wizard is never late. He always arrives exactly when he means to. I saw that in a meme where it's thrown like saying, "Oh, you're late." It is a wizard is never late. Always appears exactly where he wants to. And then you know that meme of that guy. I think it's like meant to be at like a cricket match or something like that. But it's a great meme of this guy in the stands like this, like that, looking really annoyed at presumably what's happening in the game. And I can't remember the name of the battle, but you know the battle at the end of Two Towers. It said soldiers who died at the start of that battle. It's like, because he's like saying wizard turns up exactly when he means to. But then again, you know, Gandalf used nature. You know, that's something that I love about Gandalf. Is that a lot of his stuff isn't magic. He just has a great knowledge of the world, and I think that's amazing. I swear, injuries follow Orlando. No, not injury, but bad things follow Orlando Bloom around in these movies, right? He's got to be the most unlucky out of the lot. I'm trying to think, because obviously, you know, Viggo blooming hurt himself as well. In fact, they all blooming hurt themselves, didn't they? But I do feel like Orlando was the snake-bitten one out of all of them. But then again, Sam, that was gonna be playing on the rest of in my head for the rest of the day, guys. It really, really is. That's horrible. And Lurtz being the that type of oh my goodness, my brain's gone completely blank. Not goblin. Orc. There we go. That kind of orc. You know what I mean. Seeing with little pink fingers on top of his head. I'm wondering if that was like a little joke that he was doing between takes, or maybe that actually had a reason to do with tracking, with the cameras and everything. But he looked amazing with it though. God, that story about in the boat, guys, is terrifying. Both the stories in the boats were terrifying, quite frankly. I mean, the guy didn't know how to swim. Maybe not. I was going to say maybe they'd have like some sort of like floats in the boats just in case something happened. But how do you do that when you're filming though? That almost, when he said that he didn't know how to swim, that almost annoyed me, to be honest. It's like, this is too much of a risk now. No, I mean, obviously they I'm sure they would have got to him and everything, but that river was not slow, guys. You know, you don't mess around with nature. Is basically what I'm saying. Guys, absolute blooming treat. It just takes you back to him, you know. It's watching something new, but I feel like I've just watched the movies, you know. and also this scene being the longest sequence in the movie. I mean, it kind of makes sense considering how much, dialogue and discussion there is going on, but that just doesn't feel right to me. And apparently it's much longer in the book. I'd love to know how long it is. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. This was an absolute blooming treat. Like I say, if you want to go and check out the Patreon, you'll be helping me out, guys, because this will most definitely get claimed. Again, that's not me complaining. It's just, that's the way it is with YouTube, And so if you want to support the channel in that way, you can. If you do, you get access to the poll, which is currently running, to see what movies we check out next, and obviously the full length reactions when they come out, and everything else that's on there, guys. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the Harry Potter book reviews, Arcane, Invincible, which we've recently started, guys. Need to get back onto that. But yes, guys, if you want to support the channel in that way, you can. If not, don't worry. These will be coming out as usual, for free, as always. Please like, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm VeggieGamer, and I'll see you next time.